Mike Locksley at Maryland. There's been a lot of buzz lately about whether he's on the hot seat, what's going on there, and it's worth diving into and getting into it, going on about the Terps. You guys have asked about it on a few live streams, and so when you guys ask about stuff time and time again, I try to make a video on it. So Maryland started the season the most Mike Locksley way possible. They started strong at 4-0, but now they're 4-5, 1-5 in the Big Ten with 5 straight losses. Some were close, 3 of them by just 10 points or less. I think the total between all 3 of those. But others were blowouts, like the 55-10 homecoming loss to Indiana. And it never feels good for your 7th-year head coach to get blown out by a 2nd-year head coach. I mean, that's the Indiana effect right now for a lot of people. That Indiana game is different. It was homecoming, the stands were emptying clearly, and for the first time, you started to hear "Fire Locksley." You started to hear the chants that echoed from the student section. Locksley shrugged it off. He just, talked about how he just has to keep going, all that stuff, saying he'd probably join in after a performance like that if he had a few beers like, like the students did. But it's clear, that fan patience is thinning. We're going to go through it all, but first, please do know, welcome to the Big Ten Huddle, as I'm JR. Please do like, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate everyone who does that, and we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I think we can do it, but I do need your help. Just do the free stuff for me. I'm not asking for any money or anything like that, but just like, subscribe, turn on notification bell, and comment below what you think about Mike Locksley's job status and if you think he is safe or on his way out. Okay. So let's get into why the fans were chanting, "Fire Locksley," by, kind of rewinding back and looking at what it was before. All right, Mike Locksley took over in 2019 through some tough times, right? The tragic death of Jordan McNair led to a toxic culture under DJ Durkin, who was fired and rightfully fired after that. Maryland had just 13 wins in 3 years prior. No bowl wins since 2010. Locksley won only 5 games in his first 2 seasons. Now, I believe one of those was a COVID season, so that kind of impacts things. But then he delivered 23 wins over the next 3 years, including 3 straight bowl victories as well. That was a program first. Still, no big wins stand out. They're 0-18 against ranked Big Ten teams under him. Last year, 4-8 overall and 1-8 in the conference. If that's repeated, that's back-to-back disasters. No coach survives that at this level. I mean, no coach should. Maybe a coach has, and I'm just not aware, but no coach should, especially with lagging in attendance and support. Revenue right now ranks, last year ranked 42nd nationally, second last in the Big Ten between Rutgers and Georgia Tech. Or Georgia Tech's in the ACC, but you see what I'm saying, nationally between those two. More empty seats at SECU Stadium could hurt even more. And the latest setback was a 35-20 loss to Rutgers, who are 5-5 with a very poor defense, dead last in the Power 4 for yards per play allowed, and somehow Maryland managed just 83 second half yards. I mean, that's pathetic against a team like Rutgers. It's peak Locksley, 21-5 in September, but 16-41 otherwise. Early wins against weak teams fade against real competition. 3 games are left on the schedule: Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State, in that order. Michigan State is winless in the Big Ten, like a few others, or like Purdue. I think Purdue might be the only one at this point. But you win a couple of these games, you reach a bowl game. I don't know how you're going to win 2 of them. It's going to be really hard to do that. But you could, and honestly, if he did, I think that saves his job. But if he loses out, I think things get ugly at the Michigan State game at the end of the season. First-year AD Jim Smith is in a bind. Weeks ago, he was optimistic, but after recently losing by 60 points together in 2 games, he's been non-committal. I feel like if he gets to 5 wins, it shows progress. If Mike Locksley gets to 5 wins, that shows progress, and I think you could sell on that. Because that could be the selling point to help him keep his job, especially since firing him is complicated. It's a $13 million buyout. That's the 3rd cheapest in the Big Ten, but big for a program that hasn't shown they have deep pocket boosters for football. Basketball, different story, but for football, they don't have the most deep pocket boosters. Plus, it is a crowded coaching market, right? Penn State, LSU, Florida, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, list goes on and on. They all have openings. Maryland might settle for an up-and-comer, but past hires like Edsall and Durkin, they flopped, and fans could lose trust quickly. Plus, young talent abounds like freshman quarterback Malik Washington, Sidney Stewart, Zahir Mathis. They're raw but very promising players. They're in a lot of danger of losing those players because I think they would stay if Mike Locksley stays. But if Mike Locksley goes, I think they're probably gone too. And there's still a chance they go even if he stays. They could get big offers elsewhere. But they seem to really like Mike Locksley. A firing could spark a transfer exodus and make them lose out on the star edge rusher Zion Elee, who visited South Carolina after the firing rumors really caught fire. I guess you could say it. There was a rumor posted on X by this troll account. It's the same one who posted lies about Kevin Willard. Actually, I found that out talking to some Maryland fans. But in hot seat mode, anything ignites at this point. I'd say a 4-8 finish makes it very, very unlikely that Mike Locksley sticks around. Look, Mike Locksley's done a lot for Maryland. His commitment to the area, how he helped the team and the community recover from the Jordan McNair death will always make him somebody fans respect. But unfortunately, respect helps, but winning helps more. And Locksley cannot have back-to-back 4-8 seasons. But if he does, it would be his own fault. He prioritized paying young players after a 4-8 season and letting the older players like Roman Himby walk out the door and go to a more successful program like Indiana. Now the players they've lost, they've not performed the best. Okay, if we're being honest, there's not a whole lot of Maryland players that have gone on. LaVon Johnson, he's barely played at Texas. I mean, there's a number of other guys you can say. But you could also argue that the incoming players and younger players have been better than those players. And I think that'd be true, but some more experience could help them. And at the end of the day, Locksley lost the locker room last year. So what does that say about his culture building? So maybe it's better they all left, but Roman Himby, you should have kept him. A reliable running back who would have been huge for the true freshman Malik Washington. And based on what Kirk Cinetti says about him, seems like he would be a great culture fit, a great leader for this team. But I'm curious your thoughts. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Mike Locksley. Thank you for watching the Big Ten Huddle. Have a good one.